The lawyer's voice cut through the funeral home like a blade through silk. And to my son-in-law, Michael Chun, I leave my entire estate, including the family business, all properties, and liquid assets totaling approximately $4.2 million. My name is Michael Chun. I'm 38 years old, and I worked as assistant manager at my father-in-law's restaurant supply company in Sacramento, California. The same company his daughter, my wife Victoria, always told me I was lucky to have a job at. The silence in that room was so complete I could hear my heartbeat. 23 members of the Castellano family stared at me like I had just murdered someone. In a way, I had. I had murdered their expectations, their inheritance, their future. Victoria's face went from shock to white-hot rage in 3 seconds. Her mother, Elena, actually fainted, into the arms of Victoria's brother, Marco. Her sister, Christina, started screaming before anyone could stop her. This is fraud. He manipulated Papa. He's not even real family. I sat there in my department store suit, the one Victoria always mocked, and said nothing. Because I'd learned a long time ago that the Castellanos didn't want to hear anything I had to say. They wanted hired help who knew his place. What they didn't know was that Robert Castellano, the man they were burying that day, had been the only one in that family who ever saw me as more than the Asian guy who married into money he didn't deserve. And he had spent the last 2 years making absolutely sure they would pay for how they treated me. I met Victoria 10 years ago at a restaurant industry conference in San Francisco. She was beautiful, confident, and came from the kind of Italian-American family that seemed like something out of a movie. Big Sunday dinners, loud arguments that always ended in laughter, traditions going back generations. I grew up in a studio apartment in Oakland with my single mom who worked 2 jobs. No big dinners, no traditions, just survival. Victoria's family seemed like everything I never had. At first, the wedding should have been my first warning. Elena cried through the entire ceremony, not tears of joy. She kept whispering, "Roberto's making a mistake," loud enough for half the guests to hear. Marco gave a best man speech that was mostly about keeping the bloodline strong. Christina got drunk and told strangers I was obviously after the family money. The only person genuinely happy was Robert. He pulled me aside during the reception. "Michael, you're a good man. Don't let them make you forget that." I should have asked what he meant. Robert gave us jobs at Castellano Supply Company as a wedding gift. Victoria became director of brand development, which meant she worked 3 days a week and planned the holiday party. I became assistant manager of logistics and worked 60-hour weeks, making sure shipments went out, inventory was correct, and customers were happy. The salary was decent, but it came with a price. At every dinner, Marco joked about me still learning the business. Elena would pat my hand and say things like, "It's so nice Robert gave you this opportunity without experience." I had 7 years of experience before I ever met Victoria. But to the Castellanos, my entire resume started the day I married their daughter. Victoria never defended me. "They're just old-fashioned," she'd say. "They don't mean anything by it." But they did. Every joke about me being the help. Every time they switched to Italian, so I wouldn't understand. Every decision Marco made without consulting me, even though I ran the day-to-day operations. The house we lived in? A wedding gift. Victoria's car? Family money. Vacations? Family money. My salary paid for my 10-year-old Honda Civic, what Marco called the delivery boy's car. I told myself things would change. That one day, they'd respect me. That Victoria would stand up for me. I was wrong. 2 years ago, Robert was diagnosed with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. 6 months to live, maybe a year with treatment. The family fell apart immediately. Elena was hysterical. Marco started planning how he'd run the company. Christina fought with Victoria over who would inherit the Napa house. Victoria began shopping for funeral dresses before Robert even started chemotherapy. I showed up every day. I kept the company running while everyone else fell apart. I also visited Robert in the hospital, not because I expected anything, just because he treated me like a human being. We talked about everything. His childhood in Sicily, my mom's struggles, the business, his disappointment in his kids. "Marco thinks the company runs itself," he said. He doesn't understand you're the reason we haven't lost major accounts. I'm just doing my job. No, Michael, you're doing everyone's job. He asked me strange questions over the next months. About my future, my dreams, what I'd do if I had real resources. 8 months before he died, he asked me to drive him to his lawyer's office. I waited 2 hours. When he came out, he looked relieved. I did something today, Michael. Something my family will hate. But you'll understand someday. I didn't understand then. I do now. Robert died in November. The funeral was huge. I coordinated everything, because that's what I always did. Victoria was too devastated. Marco too overwhelmed. Christina too emotional. Elena hugged me and thanked me for handling arrangements. I didn't feel like family. I felt like staff. After the reception, Robert's lawyer gathered the family. Small gifts, little sums. Then the big ones. Elena got the Napa house and $500,000. Christina got $200,000 and a Lake Tahoe property. Victoria got $200,000 and her mother's jewelry. Then, to my son Marco, I leave $100,000 in my Italian wine collection. Marco's face burned red. And then the bomb. To my son-in-law, Michael Chun, I leave my entire remaining estate. The room erupted. Christina screamed. Elena fainted again. Marco accused me of fraud. Victoria called me a manipulator. I was handed a letter Robert had written for me to read privately. I left while the family was still shouting. I sat alone in the office, my office now, and opened the letter. Robert wrote, "You earned every cent. I watched them treat you like a servant. I watched you run my company while Marco took credit. I watched you work while Victoria spent money she didn't earn. You have integrity. They don't. You were the son I should have had." He explained everything. Marco had been embezzling for 3 years. Nearly $200,000. All documented. All prepared. Victoria stormed into the office at midnight. "We need to talk about this insanity." "What insanity? Don't play dumb. You poisoned my father against his family." I visited him. We talked. That's all. She laughed bitterly. "He left you $4 million. He left you the company. He would never do that unless you manipulated him. What if he saw something in me you refused to see?" "Oh, please." He felt sorry for you. She hesitated, then said the part she never said out loud. "You're not even Italian." There it was. I told her about Marco's embezzlement. Showed her the evidence. Her face went pale. "You're destroying my family." "No," I said. "I'm protecting your father's legacy." She begged, then threatened, then left crying. The Castellanos contested the will. They hired lawyers. They claimed fraud, undue influence, diminished capacity. James Morrison crushed every argument. Medical records proved Robert was lucid. Witnesses confirmed it. The judge threw the case out. I turned the embezzlement evidence over to the district attorney. Marco took a plea deal. 5 years probation, full restitution, and a ban for financial work. Victoria filed for divorce. I didn't fight it. She kept her $200,000 and her jewelry. I kept everything else. I ran the company for 2 years, tripled revenue, and sold it for $8.7 million. Then I built my own business. Paid people fairly. Promoted based on merit. Built something honest. I moved my mom from her tiny Oakland apartment to a beautiful home in Sacramento. She cried when I handed her the keys. "Roberto would be proud," she said. "Yeah, he would." Robert taught me the greatest truth. Blood doesn't make family. Actions do. He saw me when his own family never bothered to look. He made sure that when he was gone, I would finally see myself the way he did. Not as hired help, not as an outsider, but as someone who deserved everything he worked for. Sometimes the best revenge isn't destroying the people who wronged you. It's becoming everything they said you could never be, and watching them realize they had it in their hands the whole time and threw it away.